What I've got here are two small gold snakes, and we can definitely say they're snakes because if we look at them very closely at the head, we'll see that each snake has got a little pair of eyes and a tiny little tongue poking out of its mouth. We've never seen anything like these before. There are no parallels for them in Anglo Saxon archaeology. All we can really say is that they have tiny little pins sticking out of the bottoms, so they must have been fastened onto something. And they definitely come as a pair, one slightly bigger than the other, and there are three pairs, each pair made slightly differently. They do look distinctly different, but there are three pairs in the hoard. When it comes to the manufacturing technique on this, it is actually quite a simple piece. I mean, you've basically got a piece of wire that you've tapered at one end to make the tail. You've attached a little pin to it, and then at the other end, you've used, I think, a tiny little punch to punch in the two eyes, and then you've just worked the gold, probably with a graver, to make the mouth and the protruding tongue. But it's the scale of it. I mean, again, I'm sitting here and I've got this thing, 6 inches from my eyes, and I can just about make out the tongue. If I bring it 2 or 3 inches from where I am, I can really start to see the detail on it. It's a very intriguing question for me. Why would anybody go to that sort of bother to put that kind of detail on something which is so tiny and so flimsy? There's also the question of what could possibly these snakes have been decorating. The pins that are there are very, very, very flimsy pieces. They've obviously fitted, I think, into little drilled holes and then been probably glued in to whatever they were on. Because you certainly couldn't have driven these pins in any other way. It says that whatever the use that the object is getting, it isn't something that's very heavy-handed. I mean, these snakes wouldn't have survived in position on something that was getting a lot of mauling. So presumably, again, they're decorative on something which is not getting a lot of rough wear. So that gets us a little further, but not really very far. Snakes can have all sorts of meanings in mythology. I mean, the snake is sometimes the embodiment of evil and the underworld, and that can go right the way through to being a symbol of positiveness and good fortune and healing. We really don't know what these two particular snakes meant to the person who made them or to the person who used the object that they were on. The reason I've picked these snakes to include in this series of films is really purely and simply that I fell for them the first time that I saw them. I mean, I picked up this little fella, was looking at it, and suddenly realised that staring me in the face with these two little eyes and a tongue poking out at me. And I just thought, oh, that's brilliant. I'm face to face with somebody who's obviously had fun making this. And it's something we don't associate too much with the Anglo Saxons, but they did have a huge sense of fun. They loved riddles, they loved word plays, and in a lot of their art, especially in things in the hoard as well, we can see that sense of fun and enjoyment coming through. And I think that these snakes just summarise that for me.
Watch out for more films in this series. In September, a special issue of History West Midlands explores the fascinating story of Anglo-Saxon Mercia and the Hoard. Subscribe now and register for our free newsletter. In October, a new permanent gallery opens at Birmingham Museum and Art Gallery. The Staffordshire Hoard is owned jointly by Birmingham City Council and Stoke-on-Trent City Council.